Today I will be talking to you about the gypsy villages in Romania. As I am not a student on the main campus of Campbellsville University, I did not have the opportunity to interview an international student. So I will be telling you about the time in 2007 that I went to a gypsy village called Tinca on the outskirts of Romania. The gypsy villages in Romania are in a very secluded area. Thus the people live a very different lifestyle without even realizing it. One thing that we noticed was different when we arrived was their religion. Gypsies do not have a main religion. Most believe that forces of nature and the spirits of the dead control the earth and what happens to it. Gypsies also believe that you can call upon these spirits to help you in your current life or tell you things that will happen, which is where the whole fortune teller assumption comes from. Another thing that was different was their jobs. Gypsies are typically very poor and do not make a lot of money. Gypsies live a very simple lifestyle. They fend for themselves, that often includes stealing, but they don't see anything wrong with it as long as it's something they need. They also only own the necessities of life. Many do not have running water. They use the village well. Their houses also often include walls made of clay or mud and heavy blankets as roofs and room dividers. Their jobs are typically farmers. They raise their own animals, often living in the houses with the family, and have gardens that will go into bigger cities and sell meats and vegetables at a market stand. Some villages are not as lucky to have this, though. A village called Roma was forced to have a wall separating it from the city because it was considered too poor and ugly. This does not make the gypsies want to live there any less, though. I lived here for 20 years. My woman died, and I want to also die here, said a 59-year-old man, one of the oldest residents and a community leader, surrounded by younger Romans who nodded their head in approval. This was mentioned in an article about the village. With that, another thing about the gypsies are that they're very family-oriented and normally have multiple generations living in one house. It is also not uncommon for arranged marriages to go on. That way the families can approve of who their child is with since they will most likely all be living together. With the family so close and arranged marriages happening, many young girls have their children and start working at the age of 13. Food was also something that was very different for us when we got to Tinca. The food in the gypsy villages mostly consisted of rice, beans that they grew in their garden, and vegetables, and sometimes meat from the animals that they would raise. Sweets were also very rare. No one in the village had them. We were there and brought candy for the kids, and there was one point when children were physically fighting over it. They would eat some and then save the rest for later and hide it so no one could find it. The people were overly grateful as well. Their houses is one thing that surprised us. As I mentioned before, their homes were often just wooden blankets, but to them they were mansions. People in the village invited us into their homes, encouraging us to take pictures because they were so proud of it. By the way they were acting, you would think that they lived in $10 million homes. This surprised us because my little ranch house, I'm sometimes ashamed of because I think my friends have better homes, but they were so proud of theirs. Possessions were also one thing that they were very proud of. They loved having their picture taken. No one had cameras and no one owned a mirror. My dad and I brought our cameras one day and a battery-charged printer. We took pictures of each of the families and a portrait of everyone in the village. When we gave it to them, you would have thought we were giving them a pot of gold. Tears rolled out of their eyes and they couldn't stop thanking us over and over again and just staring at their picture, as for some of them, it was the first time ever seeing what they looked like. Gypsies are very proud of their appearance. They will wear cheap plastic jewelry and act like it's diamonds. They love accessories, rings, earrings, necklaces, and especially bracelets. They wear as much at one time as possible. When I asked one girl why, she said it made her feel pretty and more attractive to the men. Although that they do not know that they live such a simple lifestyle, sometimes I wish that we could feel that way. These people have so little, but act like they have so much and are so grateful for it. What was especially nice is when we were telling them about the Lord and what He does, they wanted to give up everything to be with Him, what little they had. And it broke my heart because I have so much, and sometimes it's so hard for me to give up that little bit for Him. So sometimes I like to just look at the pictures from Romania and remember those kids. One girl named Florina stood out to me the most. All she owned was a pair of shorts. I gave her candy, I gave her her picture, I gave her jewelry, and all she wanted was to just hear about the Lord and to sit in my lap and hear stories about Him. This broke my heart and made it so happy all at the same time. I hope to one day go back and see these people again and learn more about their culture. possibly even spending a year there. Lots of information is on the Gypsy Villages on different websites if you want to look it up. I encourage you to do so as it's a very interesting topic and that a lot of you might be interested in learning more about it. Thank you.